Ethos with your host, Paula Schermonte. Cosmos and Ethos recognizes the direct connectivity between our inner and outer lives, promises to accelerate individual consciousness and renew our collective awareness, promoting best practices in holistic health and next-generation trends. So please welcome the host of Cosmos and Ethos, Paula Schermonte.
My special guest today is Jim Graypeck, speaking on the topic of the Pavilion Solution for Future Living. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you. Hey, thank you, Paula. It's great to be here, and I'm excited to share this. Every time you look at something, I mean, all of us can, I think, agree in the last couple of years, oh my God, everything changes every week, every month. And then you can't say it can't get any crazy. You say it can't get any crazier, and it does, right? And part of the pavilion, the pavilion concept, even before this happened, was designed to help move us forward as a society. So this gave me another opportunity to really drill down on it. As Paula said, I'm in Turkey right now. I'm in Izmir, Turkey, which is pretty cool, actually. I mean, a pound of tomatoes for like 40 cents, you know. But there's upsides and downsides. Like everywhere in the world, the Turkish people are being affected. In America, we're being affected. So all kinds of things are happening. It's waking people up. And that's my first note. I guess if the slide isn't up, we can bring it up. And that is, here's an image of the building, or at least an artist rendering of what we're looking at. Biogeometry, sacred geometry designed. And I put this kind of new description down, which is it's a 21st, so if I look this way, it's a 21st century Jetsons-like hub for an awakening community that delivering the best and awesome conscious living. I think that's kind of where we are right now. And at the bottom left, you'll see one of my favorite quotes: the best way to predict the future is to create it yourself. So that's kind of what the program here is. Not me, really. It's me with all of you. So you have the idea. Let's see if we go. We can end that slide. But to talk about the pavilion, I need to really talk about the why, and a little bit of my story, of course. And while it is super cool that you can walk in this building, actually not even in, you can be near the building, it's going to start supporting your health. But what's really makes it different is overall is the programming. So that puts it in a class by itself. And I think it probably is one of the most important concepts to be introduced to the world that we've seen in a century or something, or a long time. And we really need something like this. My friend Haseen Patel recently released her first book, which kind of ties in with the story. So it's called, I wanted to share it. It's called The Truth Walker's Journey, the Unbecoming of Who You Are Not. And I quote, "The incredible adventure of undefining, unlimiting, and unknowing begins here." And that's a pretty good definition of my story as well, and perhaps yours also. After college, I went into the hospitality, or college master's, went into the hospitality industry, ran restaurants, hospital feeding, but at some point I decided I'm looking at the world on this kind of downhill slide. And I felt like I should be doing something more. I mean, I'm glad people are having a good meal, but, I think I could contribute more, because I also had a background in communications and so on. So I put my intentions on becoming a filmmaker, going into the television industry, if you will, production, excuse me. And 3 years later, I transferred into that business as a manager, because I had strong managerial skills, and then ultimately kept learning and became a filmmaker, became a producer, a cameraman, opened my own company in Washington, D.C., in the National Press Building, right kind of in the heart of things. And was there for more than a decade. And over that time, I I learned so much. I mean, first of all, being a producer, especially in Washington, is so great because everybody's got an office there, right? Maybe like New York or some of the big cities. So I was getting work from associations, from the government, from the different agencies, from nonprofits, and getting to really see what's going on around the world. And as I produce these, I'm also seeing there's a lot of lies, especially at some of these FDA hearings and so on. A lot of cover-ups, suppressed science. The medicine really wasn't what I thought it was. Vaccines, I worked on vaccine safety. A lot of the issues that are now really in the focus, mercury amalgam fillings, fluoride in the water. This was my job. And also, I saw a lot of cover-ups going on, and including in the UFO field, which I'll get to in a moment, which is now, right, as I think 2019 started to come back into the headlines. But on the other side of this, I saw incredible solutions that could change everything. And that really started to motivate me. And that began with my filming of Dr. William Tiller, who spoke about his book. We can go to the next slide. Oh, I have to do that. I could tell him that, but I got to put it up. Oh, this was my, the next slide is and I'll skip from here. A couple of shots, my Warriors Power, like Discovery Channel stuff, an older picture, as you can see with the camera, and the Planet Lockdown, which you can find on Rumble. I co-produced that. And I think it's a really good and important film. I'm so glad this filmmaker was guided to me to help him, because this has a really good message. It came out right after COVID and pulls a lot of it together. So please look for that. I think it's good. So let's see, where were we? So yes, Dr. William Tiller, Conscious Acts of Creations, excuse me, the emergence of a new physics. And when I listened to him and saw what he was doing, excuse me, including bringing out these new quantum discoveries, quantum physics, things like our thoughts and intentions, which he proved can change physical reality. I mean, really change physical reality. When you have a couple of meditators working together, the experiments they did were really impressive. And I started thinking, wow, we could be changing. I mean, neonatal wards, we can be helping people. This could be a whole service industry. And then after that, I ended up studying biogeometry with Dr. Robert Gilbert of the Vesica Institute. And that was another incredible eye-opener. And one of the pieces there I want to share was very positive. But the positive part of this was I was learning all of this science, which came from ancient Egypt, where all our science and math comes from today. But half of the science that they were teaching, that Pythagoras learned and he brought back, was a different type of physics, a different type of science called qualitative science instead of quantitative, or qualitative physics. And apparently, and this is documented, when Pythagoras started teaching that piece of the ancient sciences, or the temple sciences, he was told to stop. He was threatened with his life. Somebody told him, if you teach that, we're going to kill you. And they actually killed one of his students for talking about it, kind of like we're talking about it today, a long time ago. Anyway, so I was blown away. I mean, first of all, so we're missing half the science we as a civilization should have evolved with. And I'm thinking, how can that be possible? It's like, isn't science science, right? I couldn't figure out how that really could work until I studied it and saw absolutely how it could work. But as an analogy, imagine walking into your home one day and you're cleaning out a closet and there's a door in the back. And you don't think much about it. You never did. You kind of noticed it. So you decide, oh, let me open the door. Maybe, let's see what's there. And you open the door and there's a whole nother wing to your house. like it doubles the size of your house. And you're thinking, oh my God, how is that possible? So that's kind of the analogy I want to bring forth. So if we had the science, and this is what this biogeometry or the qualitative physics allows us to do. It allows us to monitor or test for energy qualities and anything harmful, whether it's EMFs, wireless radiation, pesticides, toxic chemicals, everything in the world that, let's say, is harmful to us. This science, not only can we test for it, but we can use some of the tools there to transmute the energies and make everything safe. I mean, harmless or healthy even. Let me see what's next. Pardon me as I jump ahead. And what's on our next slide? I can't even go. We'll go to the UFOs. Okay, I'll get to that in a second. So that's where we were. Imagine if we had that science today. We'd be so much healthier. We wouldn't have the medical industry. We wouldn't have all this stuff going on we see today, I think. It wouldn't be possible. Our foods would be healthy. Our environment would be much cleaner. We wouldn't be killing bees. So I think you can understand, as I do, why this was not allowed to make it to where we are. All right. Next slide. I'm doing that, I think. Life in the cosmos. UFOs, ETs, and our galactic star family. So I wanted to bring this up, and the Pavilion will showcase this in some ways, exhibits anyway, maybe Science Center, because we are so not alone. I was hired in the 90s to produce a documentary on the Roswell flying saucer crash in New Mexico. Excuse me. And for Congress, because it was about, they were looking at reopening Project Blue Book, the Air Force Project Blue Book, UFO stuff. And I was looking at these small ET bodies, alien bodies. I like to call them, well, anyway, little gray bodies. And these people were real salt of the earth people talking about showing the pieces they found. They were threatened not to say anything, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, suffice it to say that after that, I got calls every year. So even to today, I am filming ex-military or abductees or experiencers or scientists or just events in this area. I've seen so much. I've worked with so many people that, I mean, it's not, or is there life somewhere? It's what are the political implications, really? Which race is doing this? Because so much has been suppressed and kept from us. But there is a lot going on. I have seen ships with close-up craft with my own eyes. Moving on to new health solutions and technologies. And that's really important because health is so important to us. I did a lot of work as a producer in the field. I work with the mainstream people, NIH, CDC, National Cancer Institute, all these guys. And on the other side as well, acupuncture, more holistic approaches, bioregulatory approaches, integrative approaches, producing educational programs for these people. And ultimately, and I saw a lot of really cool technologies that most people, unfortunately, they're not out there. My doctor didn't know about these. I'm saying, why don't we do this? And he's like, what are you talking about? So that's another thing I said, we got to get this to people. One of the technologies I saw, which is kind of in the middle here, quantum, well, that's what this slide is, quantum biofeedback, was I did some marketing work for the program, for the company, which was producing this in Hungary, here in the United States. And I was so blown away. I mean, really, I said, I became a biofeedback practitioner. I said, oh my God, I want to help bring this out to people, make these available in the Pavilion so everybody can come in as part of their membership and get a scan. These devices can scan more than 12,000 health variables in you in like 3 minutes and prioritize what needs to be done, looking at everything, not emotional, spiritual, bacteria, mold, fungus, all of the toxins in the environment. What's in your blood? I mean, your organs, incredible stuff. And these need to be in every health practice. They also actually not just scan, they can help rebalance energetic aberrations and fix the physical. So it's pretty incredible. Not as quick. I'm not saying, drugs aren't useful or surgery, everything has its place, but these things should be the first avenues we're looking at. So no, Novak Djokovic, obviously one of the best tennis players in the world, and was in the news lately because he didn't want to get the shot, and yada yada. But he attributes his success to the device, this skio adductor, these devices I work with, because they are so fine tuned to help you. So it's not just for illness, but it's also for performance. Again, the better you work, the better everything works. Now I can go to the next slide. And this is also, many of you have probably heard of this now, the Healy. I actually think I might have one somewhere nearby. Yes, I do. Here we go. Not a plug for Healy, but it's a personal biofeedback device. I think it's really cool. No, it's not a professional. It's not going to do everything the big things do, but it's something, and I see a lot more of these coming out there. It puts our mind into that understanding, or kind of gets us tuned into our bodies, our health, our field. So I really recommend it. These are, and others now, are apps you can use with your phone. You can see these on this slide that you can just bring up something, work on your sleep, work on some pain, work on skin or beauty, nails, all kinds of things. So it is pretty cool. I want to turn your attention to a second to this definition of health there on the left by the World Health Organization. I think it's probably the only thing they got right. So, but it's important. They said, and this surprised me, health is not merely the absence of disease. It's a state of physical, mental, social, and financial well-being. Wow. So I'm thinking, okay, well, is there any doctor or hospital or facility out there that's really up to the task of supporting this? I mean, is your doctor, they might take the money. No, I mean, nobody talks about all this. It's not under one roof. That's not considered healthcare, right? So that was one of my, that's part of my thinking that went into the pavilion. Health, according to this definition, and as how I think of it, is really a barometer of how we're living our lives. And I dare say, certainly myself, all of us could probably be doing better. And a lot of this is through no fault of our own, because all our lives we've been told, do this, do that, be this, be that, don't do that, by our parents, our clergy, our teachers. And so we end up kind of becoming, as Haseen's book is saying, we become the people we really didn't come here to be. So all of this, and let's go to that next slide. I see it queued up, has us, I think that's a big reason we've been kind of living in this dark age. They pulled away the science. They told us what we should be doing. It's kind of pushed into our society. And now we're accountants when we want to be singers, we're lawyers when we want to be actors, or whatever it might be, artists. They don't, as you know, they're pulling those programs out of school. So many of the world's great traditions and indigenous people have prophesized this time that we're in, calling it a time of darkness, of conflict, characterized as Kali Yuga, I think, presents more sin than virtue. And we have the end times in the Bible, the revelations coming up. So we've been in, essentially, according to everybody, these thousands of years of darkness. Now, why? Because, again, they say humanity was hijacked by what I'll just simply call dark forces, whether they be fallen angels or Anunnaki or archons or demons or whatever. We've been under the influence or control of a lot of negative forces. But everything is starting to change. People are starting to wake up now, and that's good, because we're starting to understand how reality's real operating system basically works. And once you do, and that's what the pavilion, of course, is about, and what many of our great teachers today, our visionaries, our channelers, and spiritual leaders, if you will, are talking about, is how things really work and reclaiming our power. And once you know this, nobody can control you anymore. You realize you're really becoming that as again, that God, that goddess, that you were meant to be, with that power, that mastery. Setting the tone for the pavilion, all of these, including, and also Canyon Ranch, the Omega Institute, the Biosphere Project, they all influenced my decision to go with the pavilion, with an actual facility to bring people in under one roof and have all of this stuff here, not just to show them the future, but to be able to deliver it. Take this home, use that, try that, get this kind of medical support, meet with people, have the TED Talks, all the things Paula was saying in the beginning. Walt Disney had a great vision for Epcot in the beginning. Epcot stands for the Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow. And the Venus Project, Jacques was working on that, some great stuff. I didn't agree with everything. I met with him. But the original, Disney's original vision was Epcot will be a community of tomorrow that will never be completed, but will always be introducing and demonstrating and testing new materials, new systems, and become a showcase for the world, to the world, for the ingenuity and imagination of American free enterprise. Now, I'm like, wow, this was kind of like a living community. And that's what I'm thinking. And of course, the world. We're a global community now. So this is how I envisioned this, because everything will keep changing. It's dynamic. And that's how I see the pavilion. I brought together some amazing people. Gary Henkin, who is president of WTS, they're one of the leaders in the world in terms of leisure services, spa, lifestyle communities, healthy living communities. Dr. Ibrahim Karim, who is the founder of Biogeometry, scientist, architect. We can be teaching people how to build buildings that, at home you can better support your health. Jim Turner was a good friend. He passed away last year, sadly. He actually and we worked together for a long time. He helped legalize acupuncture in the United States and get us organic food standards. And other people, and I keep building on that list. So this is the type of high level thinking that helped create what we have, and it will continue. So Paula was saying we had a location outside of Washington for the pavilion, and we had met. Actually, this was the location, the life side of like a health biotech village. They wanted the pavilion as an icon of the future. I swear, and it was next to the FDA. I think they were smoking something, but I said, God has a sense of humor. But we were really invited to build there. Somebody at the FDA or some people earlier wanted to start bringing some of these solutions out, integrative medicine, and so on. We had the government, Montgomery County government behind us, and this kind of, as COVID rolled out, everything stopped, of course. The pavilion components, I like that gold pyramid. It's not quite accurate. We have a few things going on, but it shows the concept. We have a science center, which is in there, education, an advanced bio center for health, the spa, which is really a healing spa. We have an advanced fitness. We've got organic foods and wine bars, smart living shops, and lots of events, lots of community stuff. And the other thing about that Star Trek-like building, built on the principles of biogeometry, which does support you, we do recommend treadmills if you can do them, and cardio, but it will help support your health. And we've seen the changes in blood just from going in there. All of this is data-based. It's not woo-woo. We have all the science. The other piece of it is, and everybody needs to really be using this stuff and know about it. We can build residences. I would love to see this. I can't focus on that many things, but would love to. We've talked with some developers about building residences that are built with the same biogeometry principles, so your home will support your health. You don't have to go somewhere. Just going home will support your health, neutralize any harmful energies, your wireless routers, etc. And that's pretty exciting, and it's pretty important. The BioCenter is a comprehensive facility that acts as the pavilion's epicenter for membership access to the integrative and specialty healthcare. Designed and operated by leading healthcare professionals, the BioCenter represents an extraordinary advance in healthcare. And that's because really we're working with bioregulatory medicine, which is the next step up above functional and integrative medicine. It's using quantum physics and new physics as a kind of a foundational starting point. So we're looking at the energy fields, and that's how the future is. We're looking at new technologies like I just shared, and there are a lot of them out there. Lasers, different lighting spectrums, pulsed electromagnetic fields. You've probably heard of some of these. So I've been working with, as the synchronicities of the universe would have it, I got a call and I end up doing some work for the Bioregulatory Medicine Institute, which is all about this. And now, again, I said, as life would have it, I'm their staff producer. So I'm in touch with all of these top doctors and practitioners and cutting edge technologies. And it's so good because I want to bring them in, have them as part of the think tank. And this is going to be like really crazy good. Moving on, and also the other thing, I think as Paula mentioned, financial health is important, and we even have programs for people that are, lower income or whatever it might be. I think all of that's going to change in the near future, though, also. But we have membership programs. We are working with companies with health sharing, cost sharing, medical, not insurance, but it's a cost-sharing medical plans that are like insurance, but it's more like the difference between a credit union and a bank. Okay, so the cost-sharing plans, you get like almost half price sometimes, as well as a lot better benefits. We work with you. You can go to the doctors of your choice, whether it's at a Pavilion or somewhere else. So all of that, surgeons and so on, will be part of our program. A couple more components, and we'll wrap this up on the Pavilion because you've got the basic idea. The village, when you walk in on that ground floor, again, kind of atrium, we have artisan shops, we've got restaurants, we have retail, but everything again is future, next generation oriented, kind of holistic, organic, you know what I'm saying? It also, this whole area gives a dynamic social environment, and for concerts, for TED Talks, for all of those things we will be doing in that atrium, nightly, weekly. So it's pretty cool. The Vesica Center is up on the top of the pyramid or top of the structure. And that is like the top 3 floors for large events, talks, concerts, and so on. And when it's not being used, it can be used for rent, for events, conferences, for business, or aligned groups can rent it out. And finally, the Institute, the Learning and Arts Center, where we're going to have certifications, over 150 classes, biogeometry, of course, and many other things. And also skill sets for practitioners will be going into these new areas of healthcare. So there'll be opportunities for people, again, certifications to get new vocations or add to what they're doing. We'll have underground high-yield greenhouses. We're working with some really advanced technologies that have a unique soil microbiome that grows huge vegetables and plants quicker, faster, better, and they're organic. So, and if there's any problems, that means our community can have food. And when we're there, the restaurants can have fresh organic foods as well. Lastly, the Catalyst Life, I think it's last, the Life Sciences Center, which will explore a lot of these things, a lot of the technologies, health technologies we've talked about, the biogeometry, why that works, what this missing science is. And we'll also have some exhibits that really help people, as a science center should, as an adult, look at their cell phones, look at what's going on in their life. What are EMFs? Are they safe? Are these natural cosmetics, for example, cosmetics safe? Are the lotions I'm putting on my body, is my shampoo healthy for me? All of that will be available in our exhibits in the Science Center so people can walk in and really learn about what's going on. And the other thing about this Science Center is, and I've worked with Science Centers for a little while, we will have a kind of a think tank there or a community board that helps use the Science Center as a resource to actually investigate or decide, gee, we're thinking of doing this in the community. Is this safe? Or how can we do this better? So I want to see the Science Center as a resource for the community, basically. And so, yeah, that wraps us up. The pavilion gives us a tangible future to set our sights on, with lots of programs and events, TED-like talks, a time bank so we can barter and serve each other in the community, monthly member block parties, concerts, movie screenings, all that good stuff. And the other thing about the pavilion, as I come on my last minute, is the concept of great future, which we all kind of think about, is so broad, it doesn't tell us anything. And to create this, as we're learning with quantum physics and our gurus out there, we need to have a coherent vision, like of what we want. So I'm offering the pavilion as something that can help with this, because it's got a lot of stuff there, a lot of good minds put work into this. And this is at least a starting point, as I see it. Maybe you can use it that way for how the world can work in the future, and how we can all meditate on that and make this happen much more quickly. This does have, by the way, 2 feasibility studies showing it's, financially it works. Everything's on point with trends. And this is your direct pipeline to an expanded universe, a healthier, happier, and more capable you. End of slides. Cut, wrap. Thank you, Paula.
Thanks, Jim. It's such an inventive community hub concept and such a practical model. How can our viewers get involved? Are you looking for like-minded visionaries? Are you looking for financial partners?
Well,
what really
thank
do
you.
you see?
It's not just money. It's aligned money, first of all. Anybody that has some resources and says, I really like this idea, let's do it. And right now, I don't know, it's kind of percolating in Florida, in Tulum, Mexico, here in Izmir, and in North Carolina. So we're looking for aligned investors or champions. The other thing I think I'd like to see, and maybe people in the audience can help with this, is, as I was saying, when the more of us that put our focus on something, like the meditation, like how they reduced crime in DC when the TM people got together, the more we put this out, and maybe in a few different cities and online, we can, with a site, a website or something, I think we can accelerate this process and make things happen more quickly. So yeah, maybe someone can help with that. Put together, help create a kind of a social media site where ideas can come in, people can start to focus on this, and boom, it's going to appear.
Yeah, thank you. There are other like-minded speakers. The People's Health Alliance in England, Catherine McBean, is going to be on in October, and there's several other speakers that are aligned with this. And I just wanted to make sure to take a moment to revisit the biogeometry approach or method or model system that was applied in this architecture. I'm a former architectural and environmental design librarian, and I haven't seen anything this inventive for over 50 years. So I really think it's groundbreaking in so many ways, and just want to invite our viewers to explore further. Visit Jim's website, thepavilioncenter.com. Contact him directly if you have further questions. And of course, this ties in directly to our theme, Cosmos and Ethos. We're looking to redirect humanity's moral compass to a broader scheme, more aligned scheme cosmically. And it's a perfect illustration. It's a wonderful example and very practical one of how we can advance this idea of community. It's so important post-pandemic. So you've been a really articulate, wonderful speaker, very important guest. I just want to thank you again for your time.